We're continuing with the relationship series on the World Class Happiness channel. I'm Dominic, and we're looking at partnerships and marriage, which is a chapter from my book where we're going through each little subheading to give you some ideas on how to make your relationship better, last longer. And number 14 in our list, this is the 14th video in the series. We're looking at spontaneity. So be spontaneous is the actual subheading. And I start off talking about, in the book, talking about Tony Robbins. Now, Tony Robbins is probably familiar to a lot of you, especially if you're into this type of thing, happiness and you know, getting inspiration online and stuff like that. You've probably heard of Tony Robbins. Obviously, I'm from the UK. Tony Robbins is from the US and obviously very popular over there, more or less a household name. Here he's less popular. So for those who have never heard of Tony Robbins, he, you know, for many years he stood up on stage and spoken about how to be happy, basically. And one of the things he talks about fairly often is this the six human needs that we all have, and they are, I'll just quickly go through them: certainty, uncertainty, significance, love and connection, which is one, growth and contribution. Okay, so they're your six human needs. Obviously, certainty is like having your security. Uncertainty is kind of, you know, surprises and making things different and stuff like that, so you don't get bored. Significance is, you know, we all want to feel special. And love and connection, we all obviously generally want to be connected with someone or something, and that's important to us. Growth is basically like how we progress, our progression through life. And the contribution is basically, you know, how we give back, whether it be to a community or, you know, a sport or whatever it might be. Okay, so so he talks about those six human needs as a way of making us happy. And the first four, he always says the first four will always find a way to get them no matter what. The last two, you don't necessarily need them, but they will definitely contribute to your happiness. So obviously the first one, certainty, I already mentioned, that's like your security. So in a relationship, which is what we're talking about in this series, you generally, it would be quite obvious that you would want security. You want somebody who's going to look after you and protect you, maybe financially look after you, or, you know, be a protector, like strong person. But you know, that on its own within a relationship can or it won't actually be enough to kind of keep the relationship in a good position. Now, obviously, if we're sticking to these six human needs, the second one in the list is uncertainty. Now, uncertainty in a relationship, that might sound like a little bit of an odd thing that you would want in a relationship, but when I say uncertainty, I'm not talking about will it last or will it not last. What I'm talking about is spontaneity, which is what we're talking about now, and you know, making things interesting and not boring, and you know, changing things up from time to time, because obviously it can at times become routine, especially if you've been in a long-term relationship like I have. I've been with my wife now for 24 years. We haven't been married for that long, but we have been married since 2008, but we've been together for 24 years. And during that time, you know, obviously things to an extent will start to become more routine, as it would be for anyone or any couple. So the key is to be aware of that when that does happen, and be able to change things up, and you know, you talk about different things, do different things, do things at different times, and how you do things, you know, and that could apply to lots of different areas of your life. But you want to be spontaneous. You want to kind of give them surprises, and not just for birthdays and Christmases. You need to be able to do things and be unpredictable, I suppose is a better word. Be unpredictable, because nobody really, you know, nobody likes to go through life and know exactly when everything's coming, and but people do like surprises, especially nice surprises. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what you should and shouldn't do, shouldn't do, but it's important to try and keep things fresh and changing, and think of different ways in which to try and impress your partner and stuff like that, and sometimes not try and impress them, which might sound a bit strange as well, because if you're always trying to impress them, then that can start to be taken for granted, as funny as that sounds. And from a man's point of view, you think that you've always got to kind of be trying to impress a woman or a lady, and you're trying to always help them and do things for them and buy them things and stuff like that. But that isn't what they always want. Sometimes they want to, they want to kind of impress you in order to get your attention. And sometimes that can mean that you're not always giving them 100% attention. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a kind of in an unpredictable way. If you think in terms of a dating situation, so obviously it's a long time since I did anything like that, but from a dating point of view, you think of, let's say you're an attractive lady in this case, okay, and you've got, you go out, and you're very likely to have, I don't know, 10 people on an evening come up to you and give you the eye, or try and buy you a drink, or try and talk to you, or chat you up, or whatever. And they're all being really nice, and they're all probably saying the same things over and over again. And the person who probably gets to take the lady home in this case would be the person who does something different. And I'm not saying the person who treats her badly, but the person who maybe approaches it different, says something a little bit different, maybe doesn't act completely impressed and try and suck up to her all the time and try and make little jokes and make fun of her to a certain extent. That would be the person who'd be likely to be more successful in a dating situation. So you've got to think that's because in that situation she would be going for the less predictable person, which that will be no different whether it's the first night or whether it's 24 years down the line or 40 years down the line. It's going to be a similar situation where a person likes to be surprised, and they like that uncertainty within the relationship where they don't know what's coming next. And like I say, we've all been in a situation, probably if you've had long-term relationships, where you kind of feel like you're getting into a routine, things are happening at the same times, you're talking about the same things, eating at the same time and the same type of food, or whatever it might be. There's all sorts of different things that could become routine and monotonous. So the key is to be aware of when that happens, and then start trying to change it up and try and do things different, and create that kind of element of surprise within the relationship. So that's my message today. Be spontaneous. If you've got any other ideas on how to be spontaneous, obviously leave them in the comments. We'd all like to try and find something new to do and learn from other people. So if you can do that, that'd be great. And if you like what we're talking about on the channel, relationship series, or in general, just subscribe. Thanks, guys.